is, if you Google African Minnesota Women Awareness Group, you will find us. Please reach to us. We have a lot of resources that we want to give our community. So like if we put something on WhatsApp, we have food we are supplying, come and get the food for everybody. The government had a lot of money during Corona period of time, thousands of dollars to give to support people who needed help. So we are so excited, like we've given you that information. We are excited that we have gotten information about mental health. You are advocates that you go to the community, you may find somebody who says, I feel sad, I feel depressed. Or sometimes they feel overwhelmed about the work they do. Or sometimes they make suicidal statements. Sometimes they say life has no meaning. Talk to that somebody again, find out like what is in their minds, so that you can just refer them to available resources. Like young people, you may hear people have committed suicide because maybe they felt sad, depressed, they feel there's no life at the end of the tunnel, and somebody takes their own life. But if you talk to somebody like that, you can help them. So thank you for that information that you've given us. So then let's enjoy ourselves. We are going to have a lot of music and a lot of dancing. I know some people are going to, whoever is going to work, they can go. But then us remaining, let's make it the best out of this occasion. We can dance, we can have fun. Next week, if you are coming to practice, if you have some drinks left, you can put it in the fridge, then you come, when you are practicing, you can use it or you can go with it, whatever you decide.
We miss our step.
Okay? Can we clap for ourselves as we do this? Excuse me. Yes. Mark is, if you Google African Minnesota Women Awareness Group, you will find us. Please reach to us. We have a lot of resources that we want to give our community. So like if we put something on WhatsApp, we have food we are supplying, come and get the food for everybody. The government had a lot of money during Corona period of time, thousands of dollars to give to support people who needed help. So we are so excited, like we've given you that information. We are excited that we have gotten information about mental health. You are advocates that you go to the community, you may find somebody who says, I feel sad, I feel depressed. Or sometimes they feel overwhelmed about the work they do. Or sometimes they make suicidal statements. Sometimes they say life has no meaning. Talk to that somebody again, find out like what is in their minds, so that you can just refer them to available resources. Like young people, you may hear people have committed suicide because maybe they felt sad, depressed, they feel there's no life at the end of the tunnel, and somebody takes their own life. But if you talk to somebody like that, you can help them. So thank you for that information that you've given us. So then let's enjoy ourselves. We are going to have a lot of music and a lot of dancing. I know some people are going to, whoever is going to work, they can go. But then us remaining, let's make it the best out of this occasion. We can dance, we can have fun. Next week, if you are coming to practice, if you have some drinks left, you can put it in the fridge, then you come, when you are practicing, you can use it or you can go with it, whatever you decide.
We miss our step.
Okay? Can we clap for ourselves as we do this? Excuse me. Yes.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Direct you to the right place. Anybody going through a challenge on domestic violence? Anybody going through a challenge of mental illness? Or a child, or a neighbor, or a friend. Depression, because depression can develop into a full-blast mental illness. And so there's so many other mental illnesses too. So what we are advocates. And should you know anybody? And so a lot of incidents have been happening. Name Amora, and I am a member of Minnesota Women Awareness Group. As Elizabeth said, I am the liaison officer. I get to communicate with the community and mingle with the community and get info about what is happening in the community and how we can support the community. Our president is, her name is Besi Mairura. She is not here. We have other members too who are not here today. And we are about 6 in the group. So we are advocates of domestic violence or against domestic violence. And we also are advocates of we're bringing mental health awareness or mental health problems and awareness to the community. So Nelly, thank you so much. We always, it's a pleasure for us to always have you.
Okay.
Them say that I can never be alone. I've seen that God is greater than that. Who can back with the Lord? Many years, many ways.
Okay, we can put off the music.
Worried about getting rejected for a personal loan? Try Karma Confidence Technology. We'll show you loans you have outstanding.
Okay. Excuse me. Can you take a video? Thank you.
I have a message for you. God sent me.
Ready?
For the February 2023 class,
I have a message.
this is our moment.
2023.
Let's cut again.
Listen, them tell you say you can never be the one. But God say, make I tell you say. One week.
I'm taking a picture.
All right.
Is there a song for this?
Can I put your name?
Events designer. Events.
Where's Nandi? She. Can we stand here? Stand against our cake so that we can cut it. Telling us how we're going to operate when we go outside here. This is very, very important because sometimes we don't remember about self-care.
Yes.
We remember about taking care of other people, but we forget about our own self. So that's, can we clap for her for that one? And then I know we have Amag ready to talk, but can we come and cut our cake and celebrate and have some music?
Yes.
Right? I know some people are going to work. It's like, Lisa, you see?
No work today.
There's no work today, right? No. So trust them.
We call him.
Of course. Of course.
So can we, that's fair.
To
from our teacher so that we can get it online as we go and eat it on our own. Because it was too much for us maybe to grasp probably right now. Like we can get those notes and we don't have them.
Over time, you know. So we want to have some healthy habits where even if it's someone that you need to really give a polite no over something, you're doing it gracefully without guilt, in a way that builds your own well-being. So that is why we need within ourselves to find what are some of those tiny little changes that I need to make that I can commit to. And as you continue building on those, they will build up into your lifestyle change and promote your well-being. So we are going to look at six skills or ways that we can be intentional, that we can use to be intentional for our mental well-being. It's time? Okay, let me just rush through them. So let me give you those, just 6 skills. The first one, make your habits that work for you. Like, what works for me? Being very intentional around what works for you. So it's easy to remember what works for you versus just make your routine each morning, whatever that it really helps you to start your day. Prayer in the morning, listening to certain songs. So whatever that gives you that joy, commit to that. And then, and as you start small, remember, you start stacking up. You start small, and then you keep adding on to what's working, not what's not. So then the second will be check in with yourself. I think I've talked about this even. Being intentional, being very present, check in with yourself, allow yourself grace, allow yourself to be able to take some time when you feel that you're feeling overwhelmed. It's okay to step back so that you can take some breaks, whether it's your phone, social media, you need a break, that's okay. Do some of those things. So just being very intentional to be able to celebrate yourself without feeling guilty about it. And then also reframe rest. I know many times we tend to think rest as, you know, being unmotivated or just in the wrong way. Why? We think that we need to keep going. It's about time we think about rest as actually an attribute that helps promote well-being. And I don't know about those of you if you go to church. Don't you like that same one day when you don't think about work or anything? For me, I go to church on Saturday tomorrow. Actually, I was talking about this with my family. When Friday evening comes, I'm so excited because I don't think about what I haven't finished about work or anything. I'm in my rest mode. You know, it's that time when you just want to relax and not think about what is stressing. Even when I was in school, I didn't care about homeworks when it came to Friday night. Because now my Sabbath has started, I need my time, I just need to slow down. And it helps. So identify what that rest means to you. Make it as a ritual. Something that you want to do that at least moves away from the easy busyness and busyness of life. Okay? Whether it's going tech free, put it aside. Turn it off for a while. You'll be fine. I say this again. Say no to the right things. Saying yes too much can also lead to burnout. And you know what that's going to happen. Our body will start reacting because we are exhausted. So it is okay to say no to the right things. And how do you say no? Someone asked, as I said, thank them for even considering you to do that project or something, but tell them. If you know somebody else that can do, suggest, or just say, I am afraid at this time I'm not able to do it. And just being able to decline again without feeling guilty or feeling in any other way. We talked about technology sometimes, putting it away, but we can also use technology to help us. We have some really good resources here, whether it's some songs, as we were playing here, you guys were dancing to those songs. It brings joy, it releases those hormones that excite and build the good hormones, build our immune system. So use technology in a good way that helps promote your well-being. Things like if you're busy and you have all this, you have to run out that you're going to work, you have kids and all that, use technology to put up your appointments so you don't miss appointments and then you get stressed out. Create your calendar there. Use your technology to journal. When you feel you're going through something and your person likes to journal, you may not have a notepad right now, use your phone to do those things. So we can use the phone to help build our own resilience and also to help elevate our moods in a way that doesn't get us feeling doesn't get us to feel over ambitious or overexcited to a point that it will affect our emotional well-being. So there's many things that we can use technology. And I said you have to make an appointment. Then the last one, practice emotional regulation. That is actually the important one. Practicing emotional regulation, because that is what leads to affecting mental health. So let us learn, it helps when we practice emotional regulation. It keeps us grounded when stressed, improves resilience, and also reduces conflict. Because have you seen someone that you can talk to before you know it, they go, why are you talking to me this way? They just start snapping at you, then you're like, oh my goodness. When you practice emotional regulation, you're not going to get to their level. Instead, you will still remain calm because you don't want to get into their crisis mode, but instead you will be there to assist them, to help them going through that. We can only do that when we practice. So we need to learn how to identify some of those by being able to label some of those emotions. I am feeling like this right now. I just need some time to just go to process what I'm going through right now without having to give so much detail of what it is. Find things that work for you, self-soothing, just being able to practice, to pause, stepping aside, and just taking some time to step away from the situation so that you don't buy into what is going on, to bring you to that same height that the other person is going through. So that also helps. There are many examples that we have of it being intentional that helps well-being. So again, remember when I talked about those micro goals, set those goals, knowing, but depending on what your life is. Remember I said no one is the same as the other one. So really doing a self-reflection. What is it that I do? What does my schedule look like? What's my life? And then write down, if you journal, just write things down. This is what overwhelms me, whether it's, you know, if it's home, it's work, whatever it is, then have micro goals. What do you need to do? Do I need to go to the gym? If you're going to the gym, how do you add up something? You don't want to add something that is going to put more pressure on you, but instead you're starting something that is going to even continue building your resilience. So that's what you want to think about. For example, I know sometimes we get so busy. One example I can give, in the morning, if you have your routine when you're leaving, you have, when you're getting ready, let's say you're taking supplements or vitamins, whatever you're taking, what you want to do to remind yourself, you will put it next to, if you're in the shower, just put them right there, the ones that you need to, so you don't forget. So add something that you need to do. If you're going to the gym and you want to add on something, add something small, but not something that is going to overwhelm your day, but something that you will be able to do it as you're building on your activity goals that promote your well-being, but not thing that will make you feel more overwhelmed and feel that you're more obligated to things that you just cannot manage and you cannot connect to them. And also connect with people that promote your well-being, our social connectedness. Who do we have in our circles? That is very important. So let's think about all those things and being able to be active, moving our bodies. The way we were moving here, yes, moving our bodies also, it promotes our well-being. So just choose a time and a time in the day when you want to do stuff and be consistent with that. That will help. So I will not go deep into all this. I just wanted to give you those 6 skills that we can use as we are talking about being intentional. And I'll tell you, I know we didn't go deeper to talk about some exercises that we could have done to help us practice, but if you can commit to that, we will start seeing things differently. We will address issues, any warning signs that we see earlier on without waiting until someone is in a crisis. People suffer from mental illness because of ignoring those early warning signs. Once we intervene early, then we'll be able to arrest situations. We'll be able to address issues earlier without letting them elevate to a mode where now we are reacting. Let's be proactive. So that's kind of what I was going to share with you today. Does anybody have any questions? Is there something you want to talk about that we can look into? Improves our overall well-being. So that's why I just wanted, when we talk about intentionality, not that one of just saying it, but actionable items that we are taking. So we are going to look at what does that look like. Again, when we talk about being intentional, I'm not saying that we want to take some huge steps of, okay, I'm going to do A, B, C, D. You want to have small goals as you're working towards your well-being. First of all, you want to look at what are some of my lifestyle habits that are really acting against me, that make me focus so much on what's not going well in my life versus seeing how far I've come. Then that way, then you can start having some micro goals that you want to work towards. Those are small changes in your daily habits. And those, as we continue building them, then they compound into bigger habits. So, and then with that, then it helps you to also have some focus on one or two keystones, meaning, what is it that I want to focus on? I really hope that this conversation doesn't lose you, because this is actually the basic foundation of our well-being. Because many times, we tend to take the whole world, and I know as an immigrant, I know we have our whole entire family. Sometimes there's calls coming, needing your help and all that. But we need to understand that, how are all these things making me feel? Is there a time you've seen a phone call on your call ID and then you just feel like, oh my goodness?
Not again.
What again? What's going being intentional in terms of, go see a doctor, why am I going through this? Or you're having this severe stomachache. We do that when we are going to see a doctor, when it's physical health. But act proactively to stay healthy. There are times we tend to ignore some red flags. We are going through intentional about mental health. Also allows you to be connected with yourself. So when you're being intentional about well-being, it even changes your practices. And that's what we are talking about, whether it's through your food, your diet, your daily routines, what you expose yourself to, and what you're allowing your mind to ingest and digest. You know, those are some of the things that we are talking about. So,
everything in life, because it ultimately shapes who you become.
That's right.
What you feed your mind is how you think about yourself, what you think about others, all that. What you feed, yourself comes out to your physical health, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, it all just rounds who you are as a person and shapes who you are as a person as the outcome.
That is very true. Yep.
So I had just talked about that, but you gotta be intentional in what you eat, what you consume, what you listen to, what you feed your mind.
And how we just go about our daily activities. So, engage me with this. Why should we be intentional? Do we all agree with that?
Yes.
Mental health is when, no matter what you're going through, how you cope with it. How do you go about your business with it? To a point that it doesn't debilitate you. It doesn't wear you to a point you're not functioning to your full potential. Okay? So, being able to balance between the emotional, the psychological, the social well-being, even the financial, being able to be all-rounded. That is when we talk about mental health, being able to balance all those life goals. And also, because in life, many times we're impacted by different stressors. Even when you are doing the exam, I don't know if they've taken their practicals. When you'll be preparing for your practical, thinking about someone there observing to see if you're going to fail or do something, aren't you going to have some anxiety, as you're preparing? But we don't want that pressure to get you that you forget everything, that your skills will totally disappear, that you'll even be doing the wrong things. So we want to make sure that even when you're going through your practicals, you're still very calm, you're taking your breaths, and you're going about the steps in a way that is very confident, that is very calm and with confidence. So those are some of the skills that we want you to have. But they can only be there when you're being intentional about yourself, your body, listening and paying attention to what am I going through right now. So when we talk about being intentional, we are going to look at three things. The first one is being present and engaged. What does that mean? We are here. I hope some of you are not already at work, or where you were last night, or a party coming up over the weekend. Don't we sometimes you find you on the phone and you're acting like, yeah, I can hear you, but you're on the phone, and then someone says, no, it doesn't seem like you're listening, because you're not present. There are times you can be present, but you're absent. So being intentional is about being present and intentional. And being engaged, and then having a purpose. To have a purpose, what does that mean? Having a purpose is when you expect an outcome, right? Like now you purposed to come and go through this because you know once you get done with here, you're going to do something better for yourself. You purpose to do this. And that comes also with being deliberate about it. So you have the purpose, then deliberate is now the actionable one where you now get up and go, register for the school, need to do ABCD so that you get moving. So when we look at those three things, then we are talking about being able to be intentional. Now when we talk about being intentional about your mental health, is really understanding first of all how we function as human beings. What are some of the stresses that we go through which could be different amongst ourselves. So we've talked about mental health. Being intentional is really, we will look at three things. Making some small impacts, small habit changes that will eventually make impact, right? And then we look at, we'll also look at intentionality. What does that look like? And then we will look at 6 ways of being intentional. And then we will also discuss some of the things that we want to talk about when you're being intentional. What are those life practical skills that you can employ so that your small habit changes can become your lifestyle? Let me see my thing here close down. Giving you that purpose. So I'm going to talk about being intentional about your mental health. That's what we're going to talk about today. So really being intentional. And the word intentional is a word we hear all the time. Can we hear about that? Yes. I know I like to tell my daughter, be intentional. So do we really understand what we mean by being intentional? What does it mean to be intentional? Continue in your journey to go through schooling. Being, not wanting to do things, being depressed, you don't want to. Mental health is your state of being. We all have mental health. Just like we talk about physical health, right? Then, when you are not in your right state of mind, when you're having is, your mental health is not stable, that's when we can say you have a mental illness. And again, it's after it has actually been diagnosed. Don't diagnose yourself. Just because maybe you're going through a situation doesn't mean you have a mental illness. So, but we want to be able to talk about mental health. And that's what I want to focus on today. Because we want to talk about wellness. We don't want to keep talking about illness, because that's when we really dwell more on the negative, versus talk about positive, mental health. We all have some skills, we have abilities, so we want to look at what is it that we possess that we can build on, versus what is it, let's not look at our deficiencies. What is it that I'm lacking? Because that way then we'll dwell so much on what we're missing, and then we'll miss out on the joy of the beauty of other aspects of our life that we have, because we are spending so much time on talking about our deficiencies. So as you're going out in the workforce now, that many times when you hear
the state of your mind, the state of your ability to get up, function every day, all that, the state of your thought process, etc.
Anybody else has the don't we? What is mental health? We don't get worn out because of somebody else's. And again, we may not be able to fix other people. You gotta fix yourself first. So I want us to talk a little bit best level functioning. So I just kind of wanted to give you that, and differently. So don't need to understand that we are very unique individuals. Any pattern that you see that is similar? No. Exactly. Remember, the same thing in life. Nobody goes through the same experience as somebody else. Stop looking at that. Is there any paper that you can see that is the same as it? Look at her, it's totally in pieces. Look at her. Those who follow instructions. Look at that, look at that. Guys, I want you to look at, see the beautiful patterns that we have. Different patterns we should have. Open it, oh, that's enough. Okay, open your eye. Fold it into another half and then rip it. If you're done, are we all done? Okay, we've done it. And then fold it again and then rip it again. Opening your paper. That's why you need to open. Not all the way. Okay. Conversational, because we are eating, and as we feel free to chime in, give your thoughts, give your suggestions as we talk. This is really a conversation. As you heard, my name is Anneli Tarori, and I have 2 girls, Tiffany and Talia, and I live in Maple Grove. I've been here for quite a while. I hope that's not going to be on, because I'm giving all my information.
February 2022 class.
23.
Yeah, 23 class. They are very dynamic students. We loved them. They did all we intended to teach them. So they are ready for you to give them some information about what you brought for us. You're welcome.